Somewhere in the heartland of America, beneath the silent plains, lies the most destructive power ever created. A power that can end the world in minutes. For decades, we've slept soundly. We believed this power was protected by the best guardians, the most advanced systems, the most brilliant minds our nation has. What if I told you those guardians have just been sent home? This isn't a movie. This isn't a drill. The U.S. government has just furloughed 1,400 federal workers, the very people responsible for maintaining and securing our nuclear arsenal. Now, the soldiers who would turn the keys, they're still on duty. But the complex web of scientists, engineers, and security analysts who make sure that arsenal is safe and secure, they've been deemed non-essential. America's nukes are, in a very real sense, unguarded. How did we get here? And what on earth happens next? To understand how serious this is, you need to know who these people are. They work for an agency called the NNSA, the National Nuclear Security Administration. Think of them as the brain behind the bomb. They have one of the most serious jobs on the planet. First, to make sure the weapons are safe, that they won't accidentally go off. Second, to make sure they are secure, that they can never fall into the wrong hands. And third, to make sure they are reliable, that they would actually work if the unthinkable ever happened. A modern nuclear weapon is incredibly complex. The materials inside are unstable. They decay. They change over time. They require constant monitoring and maintenance by people with PhDs. These are the people who have been sent home. The government has locked them out. Why? Because of a government shutdown, a political staring contest that has now escalated to gambling with our national security. Think of it like this. The pilot is still in the cockpit, but the entire ground crew, the mechanics and the air traffic controllers, have all been sent home. The plane is still in the air, but for how long? And who is watching for what's coming? So what are the actual risks? Let's break down the nightmare scenarios. First, the risk of accidents. Nuclear weapons need constant babysitting. What happens if a critical sensor starts to fail? Normally, a team of experts would analyze the data and fix the problem. Today, that team is at home. They can't even access their secure emails. The risk of an accident is undeniably higher today than it was last week. And with nuclear weapons, even a low risk is never low enough. Second, and this might be even more terrifying, is the security risk. The most dangerous threats aren't coming over the fence. They're coming through fiber optic cables. Our nuclear command system is a prime target for adversaries like Russia and China. Who do you think monitors our network for hackers? Who patches our security holes before our enemies can exploit them? It's the NNSA cybersecurity teams, the same teams that are now furloughed. We've basically hung a gone fishing sign on our digital front door. Our enemies are not shutting down. They are working overtime. And they see an opportunity, a moment of unprecedented weakness. And this leads to the third risk, the message this sends to the world. Our nuclear deterrent isn't just about the weapons. It's about the perception that America is stable and in control. What does Putin see when he looks at America right now? What does Beijing see? They see a nation so divided it's willing to compromise its most critical defense. They see a superpower that looks unreliable, unpredictable, and unstable. This projects weakness. It emboldens our adversaries. In the high stakes of nuclear politics, perception is reality. And right now, the perception of the United States is one of a house dangerously divided. So how did we get to this point of madness? The answer is simple and frustrating. Political gridlock. The current government shutdown is because of a bitter fight in Washington, D.C. Funding for huge parts of the government, including the agency that guards our nukes, has stopped. This has become a political weapon. They hold the government hostage to get what they want. In the past, that meant parks closed or passport delays. Painful, but not catastrophic. But this is different. This is a red line that should never be crossed. The number one job of any government is to provide for the common defense. National security is not supposed to be a partisan issue. The safety of our nuclear stockpile should not be a bargaining chip. Yet, here we are. This crisis shows a terrifying truth about our political leaders. They are playing a game of chicken, and they're doing it on the highway to Armageddon. So what happens now? Even if this shutdown ends tomorrow, the damage is already done, and some of it could be permanent. First, the brain drain. The experts at the NNSA are the best in the world. They could be making millions in the private sector. They choose public service out of a sense of duty. How do you think they feel now, being told they're non-essential? Every time this happens, we lose a few more. They retire, they take other jobs, and the knowledge built up over decades just bleeds away. We are losing the very people we need to keep us safe. Second, all the long-term projects are now on hold. The modernization of our nuclear arsenal is stalled. Research into new technologies is frozen. Every day this shutdown continues, we fall further behind. The only way this ends is with a deal in Washington. Politicians must be forced to remember that their games have real-world consequences. This isn't about political points. This is about the most awesome and terrible responsibility a nation can have. For over 70 years, the world has avoided nuclear war. This was possible because of a fragile balance of power built on the certainty that the nations with these weapons were competent and stable. Today, America's competence is in question. Its stability is in question. The shutdown has exposed a crack in the foundation of our national security. It is a self-inflicted wound. The greatest threat to our nation may not be a missile from an enemy. It may be the gridlock and dysfunction in our own capital. The bombs are still there. The soldiers are still in their bunkers. But the question we all need to be asking our leaders tonight is a terrifyingly simple one. Who is watching the watchers? This is a developing story. To stay on top of the real implications behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. What do you think? Is this a manufactured crisis or one of the most reckless political acts in modern history? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay informed.